What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be going over all of the exotic class items and their most interesting roles coming in the final shape. I'll also be going over a few of the exotic armor updates, nerfs, and buffs. And overall, the exotic class items are one of the things I'm most excited about in the final shape. They're bringing back something to Destiny that we've been missing for a very long time, and that is just caring about roles on armor. All armor in Destiny 2, outside of these stats, exotic is an exotic. All the legendary armor is legendary armor. They can all use the same armor mods. And this, finally, we have actual like perks to roll on armor, which is something I'm definitely looking forward to. And I think all of the unique perk combinations will find their way into some build of some sort, and I probably will be using a lot of those different combinations. But in this video, I'm going to be going over the most interesting and the ones I think will be the most useful in meta builds. So let's go ahead and jump in, starting off with Hunter. So the first perk I want to talk about is Synthoceps. This one will improve the melee damage when you're surrounded, so not the super damage, just the melee damage. And the reason this perk will be so good on Hunter is because with Prismatic Hunter, part of the neutral game of that subclass will be all about combination blow melees and grapple melees, and adding the Synthoceps and 1-2 punch on top of that. This could be one of the best melee builds in a very long time. So what would we want to pair with that? On the left, you could use Assassins, which will make it so you go invisible on melee final blows, which would free up your aspects on Prismatic. Could be really good. You could also pair it with Endless Light to give you better uptime on all of your abilities, including your grapple grenade. You could also pair it with Caliban to create an ignition on melee final blows. And the last one will be Foe Tracer. I think Foe Tracer will be really good in general, so that one could work pretty well too. Moving on to the next right column perk is going to be Star Eater, which will allow us to overcharge our super by picking up orbs, making it do more damage. So pairing with that, obviously makes a lot of sense to pair it with Galanor to get our super back faster. Once we use it, we can get up to half of it back if we hit and kill enough things. Then feed that into Star Eater to buff the super itself. Obviously, that is just like a perfect combo. And once again, I would also like a Star Eater plus Foe Tracer, just because I think that could be cool. Next up, we have Verity's Brow, the Verity perk, which all characters can get in the right column. And this roll is going to be the same on all three characters. That plus the Endless Light. Obviously, both are geared towards your abilities, make them do damage or give them back faster, so that'd be a really cool combination. And also, once again, I would pair it with Foe Tracer, just because I think Foe Tracer is a solid pick on the left for almost any combo. Then the next right column perk I want to talk about is Gear Falcon, which is one of my favorite exotics on Hunter for Void builds, and I would pair that with Hoyle once again, or the Foe Tracer. And final last one on Hunter will be the Dragon Shadow, which will reload all of our weapons on dodge, and you can pair that with Wormhusk or even 6 Coyote. The Wormhusk one would be just kind of good for journal play, and Coyote would be really good for DPS cycles. Now moving on to Titan, once again starting off with the right column with Synthoceps, once again pairing that with Assassin for the melee increase and the invisibility, and once again pairing it with Hoyle, and finally with the Severance to create that damage and explosion on powered melee final blows. And just like Hunter, we have Star Eater skills in the right. The things I'd pair with it on Titan would be Eternal Warrior, because it's about when your super ends, you get a damage buff for your weapons. So you use a powerful Star Eater super, and once it runs out, you have a damage increase for those weapons. It makes a lot of sense. And the other one would be the new one, the Spirit of the Bear, which will convert damage blocked with the Unbreakable Shield to super energy. So once again, kind of build up your super quicker, get those orbs for a Star Eater, use the super, rinse and repeat. And just like Hunter, we have Verity, and the only one I would combo with on Titan would be Endless Light. A cool combination would be Contact, which is when you use a power melee, it will send lightning to nearby enemies and jolt the target you hit. And along with that, we could pair that with Severance to make it so when we get a power melee final blow, it unleashes a damaging explosion, so your melee would just be like doing all kinds of things with this combo. Could be pretty funny and pretty cool. And the last combinations are in the left column, using Buy-It, the Drenger's Lash one, where it tracks more aggressively and travels further, or Horror Frost, the Stasis one for your barricade, and combining those two with either Alpha Loopy to generate a healing pulse when your barricade is activated, or the Horn, where you'll send out a blast of solar energy when you use your barricade. So all four of those, 2 in the left, 2 in the right, are all about the barricade. So I think almost any of the combination of those 4 perks could be pretty cool. And finally, with the Warlock, starting off with Star Eater. Star Eater could work really well with Apotheosis, because once again, Star Eater is all about using a powerful super, and Apotheos is about once your super ends, so cool combination there. Then, just like the other two characters, we have Synthoceps, but Warlock isn't really traditionally about like melee builds, but maybe this could make some melee builds interesting on Warlock, and once again, you can pair that with Assassin for the invisibility. Then in the right, we have Verity once again. Now this time, I think there's a lot of cool combinations you can do with Verity on Warlock. The first one will be Endless Light once again. Another one would be Filaments to get Devour on any subclass by casting your Empowering Rift. And the last one is Osmiomancy to get your grenade back even faster, and it'd work obviously better with the Cold Snap grenades. We also have Starfire in the right, which is interesting because it seems to work with any grenade now, and not just be a thing about fusion grenades, where grenades recharge from empowered weapon damage, and even more so from empowered weapon final blows. And that makes a lot of sense to pair with Filaments, where when you place your Empowering Rift, you will get Devour, or with Inmost Light. And with that combination, both would help you get your grenade back, and Hoil would help you get your Rift back. Another cool combination would be Necrotic with any right column perk, whichever one you want. I think Necrotic will just be really good. In general, Necrotic Grips is one of my favorite exotics. Is it so good? Even with just like the base melee part, that could be an entire like accurate build for an entire room just by simply meleeing one thing. Obviously, you could pair it with Osteo or Thorn or whatever. And they are nerfing the interaction with Osteo, but it'd still be really good just to have it, then pair it with whatever one you want in the right. The final one I want to talk about is going to be Apotheosis with Harmony. Apotheos is about using your super and then getting the buffs afterwards. Then the Harmony is about getting your super quicker. So that could be a really cool combo. And that's going to be it for the class items. Like I said, I think almost every new combination will be useful in some way. These are just like the ones I'm looking forward to the most. And now just going over some of the exotic armor changes. The first one will be Renewal Grasp on Hunter. These now work with Frost Armor. When you're in the field of your Dusk field, you and allies will get a stack of Frost Armor every 0.9 seconds. So depending on how good Frost Armor feels, this could be kind of useful. I'm not sure if people will be throwing these down for like DPS phases and compared to using like Nighthawk and something like that. But, you know, it could be a thing. Another one is the Star Eater. Star Eater we mentioned on all three characters in this video. And Star Eater will now require 6 orbs instead of 4 for the full buff. So a slight nerf. But there's so many orbs everywhere. I don't think this is going to be a huge change. It might be inconvenient here and there, but better than getting like the damage itself nerfed. Then on Titan and all characters, I believe this nerf will make it to all of the versions with the Synthoceps. The buff will only linger for 5 seconds instead of 8 seconds, which I think is a fair nerf. I mean, Synthoceps have been crazy for the longest time. Once again, just like Star Eater, instead of them nerfing the damage itself, nerfing some of the uptime of the exotic, I think that's fair. I still think this will be obviously incredibly good with all the melee builds. They're also buffing the Mantle of Battle Harmony, where you'll get 1.5 to 4.5% super on kills depending on the tier of the enemy. There's no cooldown to this increase like there is currently, so I think this will be a lot better. I wonder if these changes will also go to the exotic class item version of the perk, because if so, that could make the combinations on exotic class item for Harmony a lot more interesting. Then Verities, which we talked about on all three characters, now is weapon damage matching that of your grenade, which I think is a great change and obviously helps a lot with Prismatic. Then maybe the most frustrating nerf in this article is Sunbracers, where it will only increase the duration of these sword grenades by 2 seconds instead of 4, and the duration of the perk allows for 4 instead of 5 nades to be thrown in total. So kind of getting hit twice there. This combined with the Will nerf, combined with the Starfire nerf from long ago, it's like, what is there even left to do on Solar Warlock outside of just being like a bot for your team? Sunbracers or Starfire were what made Solar Warlock worth playing outside of just dropping a well. And now that we're nerfing all of the above, it's like, what is there even left to do on Warlock? Like, obviously, well will still be used, but you just drop your well, and outside of that, like, you're just objectively worse than every other character in the game. But you have to be on that character just to drop the well. So I don't know, man. It's just, I guess we'll see. But the final thing I want to talk about is the Cenotaph, and it can no longer stack with multiple people using it on the same target, which is relevant for like day 1 raiding, because you would have all of your warlocks using this like before the boss damage part of the encounter. So that's just something worth noting. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the video. Let me know which roles on the exotic class item you're looking forward to the most. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.